Well, thank you very much, Chairman Ross Layton, and I thank you. I thank Mr. Ted Poe, Chairman Ted Poe, and also Mr. Deutsch for that very well-reasoned argument that he just laid out. And Eliana, I think you laid out a compelling case as well. I think all of us are a little stunned. I think we're stunned that not only does Iran continue to enrich uranium, but they're very, very vocal about the fact that they're going to continue the research and development on faster and faster spinning of centrifuges. And for them to be making this pronouncement in the middle of this interim agreement on how they're reaching this capability to develop and spin these centrifuges at supersonic speeds, setting new records, implies a certain intent on undetectable nuclear breakout capability. I think this is what members worry about. We worry that, you know, as you try to work out an agreement here, and we talk about the plutonium reactor, the heavy water reactor facility at Iraq, they make the point that they're going to continue performing work at that site. I think the large quantities of existing stockpiles, when they make the comment that no, they're not going to draw down on those stockpiles, all of this sends a message in terms of what their intent is. And quite simply, these elements of a nuclear program, which we're talking about right now, will continue to operate as the talks go on. So I think for the members of the House here on the Foreign Affairs Committee, we're a little concerned that unless Iran is pressed to fully reveal Iran's extensive activities to develop and test a nuclear device, unless we get that out on the table, and as we hear today, there's a great deal of evidence that Iran has devoted much effort to this over the years. Unless we have the details on that, I think we're left wondering about Iran's clear intentions here. And I don't think we want them to cover up that extensive evidence either. And part of it is because we watch Iran's actions. Over 400 executions last year of political and of religious opposition in the country. Stoning is still going on in Iran as a penalty. It's a capital offense for things such as adultery. As has been mentioned a number of times, a regime that's stoning women with one hand shouldn't be allowed, with the other hand, to get its grip on a nuclear weapon. I mean, this is just logical that we be concerned about this. And if a comprehensive agreement is reached, the threat of a nuclear-armed Iran is not going to be over for a couple of other reasons. One of today's witnesses has estimated that even if we were to force Iran to dismantle 80% of its 19,000 installed centrifuges, and of course they say they won't dismantle one of them, even if we were to force it to close its entire enrichment facility at Fordo, even if we were to dismantle or convert its planned heavy water reactor to a light water reactor and agree to a multi-decade intrusive inspections regime, the fact is that Iran would still be 6 months away from nuclear breakout. So if we are in a situation right now where they won't give ground on any of these points that I've just raised, I think we have something of a problem on our hands. So even if the administration were to achieve this agreement, which increasingly many say might be a 50-50 proposition, I think that was the administration's assumption, especially now that we have let up on sanctions pressure, Iran will likely still possess the capability of very quickly producing a nuclear weapon. Why do I say that? Because when you let up on sanctions pressure, you let up on the one thing you had that made it hard for them to get hard currency, that might make the Ayatollah make the tough choice between compromising on the nuclear program or economic implosion. So that's gone now. The message is out. You know, Iran is open for business. You see the headlines, you know, the next day in the Wall Street Journal, businesses rush to Iran to cut business deals. You see their stock market go back up, their currency go back up in value. So we could end up, if we're not careful, ending up on a track to have us face a permanent nuclear threat from Iran because we rehabilitate their capabilities. And so that's why I thank the chairwoman, and I thank Mr. Poe, Mr. Deutsch, for their observations on this. But I especially thank the panel of witnesses, because our 4 witnesses today are true experts in this field, and we look forward to the testimony.
Well put.